Hi, Amy here, and I'm gonna do a patina effect on these two candlesticks. These candlesticks are metal, and I've done a few projects lately. I did our bathroom vanity with the bronze and blue patina spray, and then I also did an entertainment table for our basement, which I still have to get chairs for, but haven't got chairs for yet. But I did a table in this really cool, it looks like a maple leaf in the middle, and it's all rust around the outside. And so many people have asked how I got that effect. I am going to do a project with a larger board so you can actually see how you can do it on a big flat surface. But I got these for $1 each at the Goodwill, and they're metal. And so I hadn't done metal yet. I've done it on furniture, but I have not done it on metal yet. So I'm going to do these today. And to start off, whenever all the products are Dixie Belle. This is what's called the Prime Start. And the Prime Start, I don't know if it'll focus on it. Now the Prime Start you use anytime you're going to be doing the patina process on metal. That is because this patina process is kind of like a chemical reaction. And when it's on wood, the patina effect will continue on itself. But when you're on metal, the patina can affect the metal over time. So you do want to prime it first with their special Prime Start when you're working with metal. Just because you don't want your metal to continue to patina and then actually, maybe cause damage to your metal over time, like normal metal would wear out in rainy weather or being outside. So this kind of allows you to have it more controlled. So I shake it up really well. And I use chip brushes for the entire process. I buy a big bag of chip brushes. Whenever you get a chip brushes shed horribly. So when you get a chip brush, the first thing you want to do is either wash it in the sink or do this and pull out any possibly loose hairs. And this isn't shedding anymore. I've been doing this for a little while. Just keep running your fingers through it to get all the loose fibers out, because otherwise you're going to be picking bristles out of your paint nonstop when you use a chip brush. So make sure you kind of de-shed it by rubbing your fingers through it, pulling on any loose fibers, and then they're good to go. And I'm so lazy about washing. I will wash my Klingon S50 brush, because those things are like gold. And like my zebras and my Dixie Belle brushes, I wash those immediately after using them. I'm not good about chip brushes. So if I'm running low on chip brushes, what I'll do is I'll take a scissors and cut off the paint that's dried to the tip, and then I'll use them again, and then they're fresh because I'm cheap that way. So, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I've already cleaned these, wiped them all down, and especially since at the Goodwill, they actually take a marker, a white marker, and they write the price right on it, so you have to scrub it pretty well to get that off. And I'm gonna be doing rust patina on these, just because I want to set them in the middle of the new table that I just did. Now this Prime Start is like a burnt orange color, and I am working on a garbage bag because this process is kind of messy. But to start off, I'm gonna go ahead and prime the surface. I thought about using their Slick Stick. Oh my God, I'm in love with that stuff. They have a new product, it's called Slick Stick, and it's for painting on glossy surfaces. And I tried it out on the table that I just did, the one that I did the rust effect to, because it was a really shiny, cheap laminate top, but I didn't want to remove the laminate, and it was a large surface, so I really didn't want to sit there and sand and scuff it up and leave sanding marks. So I did use a Slick Stick on that. That paint stuck like I was working on a bare piece of wood. So that Slick Stick is amazing if you're going to be working on laminates, formica, glass, metal. I could have primed this with that. And these chip brushes splatter. Every sweatshirt I own, I'm always in a sweatshirt and a hat because I'm such a messy painter. But it's splattering, this chip brush is splattering paint on me. So I'm going to prime this. I'm really getting paint on myself. It's embarrassing when I go to Starbucks because I'm at Starbucks every day. I go to Starbucks and like last night I was working with the No Pain Gel Stain for a vanity top, and I had a hole in my glove because you know I apply my No Pain Gel Stain with a sock and I wear a rubber glove underneath. Well, I ripped a hole in the rubber glove underneath, and so my fingers, in all of my fingernails was dark walnut gel stain that didn't come out very easy. So people at Starbucks are looking at me kind of like thinking it's dirt and grime underneath my nails. They looked at me like, don't you ever wash your hands? I was so embarrassed. Needless to say, I never get my nails done. Once a year on my birthday, my son, his girlfriend and I take her and get our nails and our toenails and everything all done. It lasts me maybe a week and then they're ruined with paint. So I don't bother spending the money to get my nails done. So my husband appreciates that. So I'm just painting this prime start all the way around, making sure all the metal is covered. And I think I'm gonna do the inside too, so that I have the effect everywhere. I wanna do this rust effect. I'm addicted to doing this patina. I did a canvas painting, you can see on my Facebook page. I did a canvas painting using the bronze patina spray with the blue, or the bronze patina paint with the blue spray to match a vanity and mirror that I did for my bathroom. And those pictures are up on my Facebook page at ajsvintagedesigns.com, or AJ's Vintage Designs on Facebook. It's also on my blog. You know, that's the ajsvintagedesigns.com. You can also see it there with step-by-step instructions. So I've been doing this on canvases, been doing it on the tables, my bathroom vanity. I'm just constantly looking around wondering, what can I patina next? And pretty much endless. You can patina pretty much anything. But I've seen someone patina styrofoam cooler, one of those free coolers you get. I saw someone do the patina on that and made it look like an actual metal cooler. So this patina stuff is fantastic. You do have to follow the steps. You can't skip steps. You have to do them in the order and the way it says, because otherwise it just won't work. You have to follow the instructions. But this is also an unpredictable process. You may, have a vision in your head exactly how you want it to look. Don't expect it to always be exact. You might get lucky and it'll be exactly how you envisioned it. But this is like a chemical reaction. So, some areas might turn out darker or lighter than others. So just be prepared for that. So if you're someone who, don't like to work with surprises, you'll have to be a little flexible with this. And the chemical reaction also takes time. I might do the other half of this project. I might incorporate it and do a live. I haven't decided yet. You'll find out when I get going. But since there's so many steps where you have to put it on, wait, and then, I don't want to have to do it on live and have to sit there and wait for paint to dry while I'm on live. So I'm kind of prepping it right now. Like I said, I've never worked with metal. I've only worked with wood and canvas. I had someone ask me on my Facebook page if this would work on fabric. I don't know if this will work on fabric. I assume. Never fails, I always get a phone call. Okay, so I believe I got this all covered. Okay, so I looked at the instructions. It does say to do 2 layers. So I've got the first layer on, and I'm gonna let it dry, and then I'm gonna put the second layer on, and then we're gonna get to doing the patina part of it, which is the fun part. So I'm gonna let this dry, I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna put on my second coat, and then I'll be back to show you what is next. Okay, now my 2 layers of primer have dried, and I'm gonna do this one in the blue patina with the bronze, and then this one in the iron and rust. But first thing I need to do, like I said, you have to follow the steps. So I did 2 coats of the primer. Now, You can use the slick stick as a primer and then put this primer over it if your surface is really glossy and your paint is not adhering. Or you could rough up the surface with a little 220 grit sandpaper if you're worried about your paint sticking to the surface. I didn't do either. I just cleaned it really well, and it kind of had a dull surface to it already because these were kind of old. So I didn't do any other priming other than the Prime Start. I cleaned it. It looked pretty dull in areas, and my paint stuck just fine. But if you're worried about it and you're doing a very glossy piece, either do, before you even get started, after you clean, put on the slick stick before you do this priming if you're doing metal, or scuff it up a little bit if you're worried about your paint sticking. But my paint stuck just fine. So okay, so that was the Prime Start. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do the bronze on this, and I'm gonna do the iron on this. Now the iron is what gives you that rust look, because we're gonna put green spray on it, and the green spray, even though it's green spray on iron will turn to rust. The copper, I'm gonna be doing a blue spray, so it kind of mimics the vanity that I did, the bathroom vanity on my Facebook page and on my blog page. The bronze, and I'm gonna put the blue spray on that, and so you'll get to see the effects of that as well. Now the blue spray reacts pretty quickly. The rust takes a lot longer to react. It might take you several hours before you see the rust actually start to appear. But I'm gonna put the first coat on, and then I have to let the first coat dry. This is one step some people have tried to skip. You cannot skip this first step. You put one coat on and let it dry before we go on to the next step. So don't skip that part. Some people think they can skip it. You can't. You have to do one coat of this. Okay, shake them up really well. Now you want to shake them up really well because they have actual bits of metal in the paints. And that metal is what gives you the chemical reaction when you put the spray on. So you need to make sure that you shake them really well. And I'm not good about keeping my jars clean. I usually use FIFO bottles, but for these I didn't. So, and I didn't clean the lids, so they were difficult to open, so I had to stop to go open them off camera. Now I use a chip brush, and I don't brush it on, I dab it on because I want texture. So I'm just gonna dab all over, and let me zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm just dabbing with my brush. Not too thick. You don't want like big, heavy glumps. You just want to dab it. A little goes a long way. As long as you're covering the entire orange part of the surface. You don't want to see the orange, but you just dab it. That gives that metal, hammered metal look. If you brush it on, it kind of looks artificial because your patina spray will set in the grooves of the paintbrush strokes, and it's just gonna look like stripes. So, and I prefer to dab it on. Making sure all the orange is covered. And if you're working on wood, just make sure your base coat, because you wouldn't, if you're working on wood, you're not using the Prime Start. You'd have your base color on here. So whatever color you choose to be underneath your patina, just make sure wherever you're gonna want patina to happen is where you put your bronze paint. Now, if you have an area, like let's say I decide not to patina this, if I sprayed this area in here, nothing's gonna happen. You just wipe it off. The spray does not react with regular paint. The spray is only gonna react where you have your metal, bronze, iron, or copper paint applied. That was one question that came up on my Facebook page with one of my pieces. Someone asked how I got the patina to be so nice and neat. Well, it's because anywhere I did not have the metal spray, I just took a paper towel and, gotta get up underneath here. I just took a paper towel and wiped off the patina spray so that it wouldn't stain the paint, and then no chemical reaction would happen. Just Now for this first coat, I'm painting the entire surface because I want the entire thing to be patinaed. And I'm gonna want this first coat to dry before I do anything. So time is not of the essence when it comes to this first coat. No. I should have done the top first. It's underneath of it first. Okay, so looks like I've got everything. Now I'm going to do this inside. But this first coat is important to make sure you cover everything, because when you do your second coat and then do your spray, if you don't have a first coat underneath it, you're not going to get the reaction that you want. So just dabbing away. Like I said, I'm doing the dabbing so that it kind of really looks like metal, and it will have that hammered metal look. Or over time where metal kind of gets kind of crusty and bumpy. That's what I want. Okay. The nice thing about working with a garbage bag underneath me is while I'm waiting for this coat to dry, see right here, I rolled it up. Here, oops. There's my one brush. I'm gonna put this brush inside there, and I'm gonna roll it up. Put my lid on. Since I got it rolled up, my brush is gonna be safe until later. Now for the iron paint. This bronze is beautiful by itself. If you don't want to put the patina spray on it, you don't have to. It's such a beautiful color. Now the iron looks gray, and I'm gonna do the underneath this time first, so I can see what I'm doing. The iron just looks like regular gray paint, but it does have metal in it, so that's, I know you can't see this part, but it's too hard to see underneath if I don't do this first. Now I'm gonna do the base, and I'm dabbing, just like I did with the bronze. Okay, now you'll be able to see what I'm doing. I just had to hold on to it for as long as I could. Just dabbing everywhere. Okay, they are now dry. They look kind of cool without the patina, but they're dry now. Okay, so now, I'm gonna make a plan. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you 2 different ways to apply it. Gotta shake these up really good. Okay, with the rust, I'm going to stipple it on like I did my table, so if you can see one way to apply it, and I have a clear cup here to do it with. And the other one, the copper, I'm gonna spray it on. So you can see the 2 different ways of applying the patina. Now I'm gonna do I gotta separate these a little bit because this is messy. Gotta make sure you do it on a bag. I'm gonna do the copper first with the spray, and then I'll do this one with the stippling. Okay, first of all, the spray has to be applied when this is wet. So you're gonna stipple this on quickly, and then if you have a large piece, you would do sections at a time because you can't let this dry. If you let it dry, then the patina doesn't really have much of effect. It'll have a little bit of effect, but not much. You need to make sure it's wet. And so I'm gonna stipple this on, and my brushes are still wet because I rolled them up in my garbage bag. So I'm gonna get my copper one out, and I'm gonna stipple this back on. Very important to shake it. And wear old clothes. I got my new hat from Dixie Belle. Love this hat. Okay. And so I'm gonna use, this is the Dixie Belle Copper. and I'm gonna stipple it on, and I have my spray ready. And I'm gonna kind of stipple it on all over. That's right, I gotta do the underneath first. Just pouncing it on generously, but I'm not like gooping it on too much because I just want it to look like metal, and I'll show you. So you can see like right here that I'm just stippling it on all over. I'll do a close-up one after I've sprayed it, but I gotta move quickly. Like I said, it has to be wet. Gotta make sure you don't miss any areas. And I can't say it enough, I like the looks of stippling better than brushing it on. If it's brushed on, your patina color, your blue or your rust, will be smooth and look brushed on. It's a cool effect. I did it to the painting that I have posted as well. I did do it to the painting, brushed it on, but I want a real metal effect. Metal look. So my little baggie is getting in my way. Okay, I need to look around to make sure I've got all the spots. And if I miss a spot, you know, there's no patina there, it's okay. There's no mistakes because it will be, it'll look realistic. I mean, no one has a piece of metal that is perfectly patinaed everywhere. And our goal is to make this look real. Okay, so it's still wet. Put my brush off to the side, put my lid on because I don't want to get that patina spray in my paint. Okay, and then you got to shake up your spray, make sure your lid's on. I've done this before where I got it all over me. Shake up your spray. And this is the Dixie Belle Blue Patina Spray. And you don't want it to pool up. You don't want a big puddle in one area. So you're gonna just slowly mist it. And you'll see it dripping. I'm just misting it everywhere. Getting underneath. Then some dribbles. It's kind of, it smells like Easter egg coloring. Okay, getting inside the cup and along the rim. Just letting it drip, okay? And you're gonna see the effects of this. Let me zoom in real quick. This stuff is so messy. Okay, I'll zoom in. See the importance of having the bag underneath? Because it is quite messy. So I got the patina sprayed on there, and you can see how wet it looks. It's pooled up quite a bit down here at the bottom. So if I wanted to decrease the amount of patina that happens because I have too much pooled up, I can just dab it with my paintbrush that has the copper on it. Hopefully I just didn't block the view. But you can already see right, find my finger on the screen. You can already see right here, it's already starting to turn blue. You can already see the blue. The blue patina reacts much faster than the rest. See that? So we'll see how that's gonna look in a little bit. Okay, now let's do the rest one. Now with the iron paint, you need to use green patina, and they're labeled. That one's the green. You can see how much I've used this. I've been having so much fun. I'm gonna pour some of this green patina into a clear cup, shaking it first. Okay, and I'm going to pour it in this little clear cup. I need to order more of this. I've been having so much fun with it, I've been using it all over the place. I forgot. I need to put my wet coat on. Okay. get my brush out. Okay, this one. Okay. Stipple it all over. Forgot to get underneath first. Okay, this one, I got stipple all over. Making sure I get everything wet underneath there. Moving quickly. Like I said, if you have a big piece, you'll have to do it in sections, but this is such a small piece, I'm gonna do it all at once. I believe I've got everything covered. Okay, now I can use my paintbrush to stipple. Okay, now using the paintbrush to stipple on the patina is more of a controlled way to do things. If you're one that you don't like surprises, you want to know where everything is going to land, then you dip it into the patina, just the tip of your brush, and then repeat the same process. Just dab it all over. And the rust doesn't, you don't see the patina, so you gotta kind of look at the wet spots to see where you put it, because it won't have the reaction. It takes several hours for the rust to happen. Okay, dab. I might not want it absolutely everywhere, so I might skip a few spots. But stippling it like this with your brush, you have control over, like if you want to do it just in a certain area and you want it to be nice and thick in one area and thin in another, then you have more control applying it this way. This is how I did my table. Okay, I think I got everything that I want covered. Okay, I got to dispose of this, and I just throw my brushes away. I don't even bother cleaning them because I really don't want that metal. I don't want that metal down in my sink. Because since I have a metal sink, stainless steel sink, where I clean my brushes, I really don't want to take the risk of having a metal-based paint go down my drain. I don't know whether it's okay or not to wash your brushes in them. You know, let me see what it says. It says it lasts for up to 15 years. It's resilient to the outdoors. Oh, wow. It says Bella's Patina paints are ground up metal in a non-toxic water-based acrylic binder. They may be applied on both metal and non-metal surfaces, such as glass, wood, ceramics, concrete, foam, and fiberglass. It is resilient to the outdoors and lasts up to 15 years and are non-hazardous. Now, I mean, you don't want to get this in your mouth or in your eyes, but it's water-based, so you probably could wash it in your sink, but I don't want to take the risk since, like I said, I have a metal sink. I have a stainless steel sink, so I just throw my brushes away. Buy those cheap chip brushes. Okay. Okay, you can kind of see, you know, the dripping and a little bit of the orange, but you won't see the full chemical effect on this until tomorrow. At least 6 hours. You need at least 6 hours for this. But wait till you see the copper one. Copper one's already changing. Look at that already. What has it been? 15 minutes? Not even 15 minutes? Isn't that cool? So you will get a quick response with the copper and blue spray, but that one's gonna take longer. That one, I won't be able to show you pictures until the end, which will be tomorrow when I finish up the video. But look at that already. Okay. So, I don't wanna touch these because they're all wet and they have that, the spray patinas on them. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let these dry, and then I'm gonna come back and show you what they look like when they're done and what I do to seal them and prep them and everything else so that they're ready to be put on my kitchen table, to be able to use as home decor, but or they can be put outside. But I'll be back when this is dried and I will show you what I do next. Well, it's been 24 hours and I want to show you how they turned out. Once again, I'm in my painting clothes because I'm going to be working on some pieces in my garage, but I wanted to show you what transpired with the patinas. So the rust, I love the rust. Look at how it turned out. You can see where I didn't dab the rust on every spot. Looks more realistic. Look at how rusty the inside is. That turned out great. Looks like, I'm gonna zoom in here so you can see it. Very realistic. And you get a little bit of powder on your hands. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna brush on a clear coat over this. I'm just gonna use, I'm out of Gator Hide. Normally I would always use Gator Hide, but I've used all of my Gator Hide and I need to order some more. So I'm going to put the Dixie Belle top coat in satin. I'm just gonna brush that on and it's good to go. That's that one. And then you can see where I missed a whole section. But that's okay, it adds to the character of it. But so I was spraying, since I had the camera in front of me, I didn't walk all the way around and spray everything, so I did miss a little section. And if you wanted to, look at the bottom, see the drips? I love the drips. And I sprayed it fairly heavily. Now with this, and you will get a little bit of powder on your hands. Now what I would do with that is I would just take a paper towel, get some water. Okay, so this is what it's gonna look like when it has the top coat on it. I have the top coat out in my garage because I'm actually working on another piece with that top coat right now. But I just take a wet cloth and you're gonna notice, don't worry, the patina will come back. I wipe off the blue chalk. It's not chalk, but it's like a powdery residue. I'm gonna wipe that off before I put my top coat on. I'm just gonna wipe it off and let it dry again before I put my top coat on. You don't have to necessarily do this, but for a lot of things, especially with furniture, I don't want that powder to come off on anyone's clothing if I miss a spot with my top coat, which I won't. I'm gonna be very careful with it. But I'm just going to wipe back the powder, because it does leave a little powdery residue. Now don't worry, I mean, it looks like I'm completely wiping it off. I'm not. It'll dry and it'll come back. But I'm just taking off the excess, like, powdery residue. I've gone through so much of this patina paint. This is empty. And I've done several I did that whole table with this. I mean, a little goes a long ways. But I did that entire table with this. And I did the candlestick, and then I did one other little cardboard project. So this goes a long ways because you're just dabbing with it. The bronze, I did my entire, that bathroom vanity set, the mirror, the painting that went on the wall, and then this, and I still have about a third of this left. So it does go a long ways. If anything, I've had to repurchase the spray because when you're doing the dabbing, you waste a lot because you pour it into a cup and then you contaminated whatever product is in that cup. You can't pour that back in the container because it's got metal in it from your brush, from dabbing it onto the wet paint. So there, I just brushed that off. See, and it's already the blue's already starting to come back. So that is the look you're gonna get when you put the top coat on it, is the blue does come back. But I'm just wiping back the dust so I can get rid of some of that, the excess blue dust. But like I said, I'm not removing the patina. I'm just, the excess dust from the patina that's sitting on the top, I'm just removing it. So when I put my top coat on, it will adhere very well. So I've already wiped it all down. Actually, I'm wiping it down a second time as we're talking. But like I said, the blue will come back. But just wipe it down with a damp cloth before you seal it. That's what I personally do. And then I'm gonna do the same thing to the rust. I just don't want to have that powder interfere with the longevity of my top coat. And the rust, not much, you won't get much powdering from the rust. I mean, a little bit, and I've rubbed that entire center section. You won't get much powder from the rust, but you will from the blue. But I'm just wiping it down a little bit with a wet cloth and let it dry, and then I'm gonna put the top coat on it. Normally I would use a t-shirt for this, just so that I don't get the fuzzies from a paper towel. And if you decide you have an area that you have too much patina on, you can take a light sandpaper to it and lightly sand, and it'll actually sand down to the iron, the gray color, and so you'll have little bits of the gray color coming through. So you can sand it back a little bit just with a light hand. Use a 220 grit sandpaper, or actually what I did on the table, so I have a nice glossy smooth finish, I used quadruple zero, so it's 0000 grade steel wool, and I just took the steel wool over the whole thing. It gave me a nice smooth surface because it was a tabletop, so I wanted a smoother surface. So I did take that fine grit steel wool, which is the quadruple zero grading one, and with the grain of the wood, I just went back and forth gently over the entire table, and then wiped it down with a damp cloth, then put my Gator Hide on it. But like I said, I'm out of Gator Hide. I'm obsessed with that Gator Hide. If you have not tried their Gator Hide, the thing about their Gator Hide, and it's a funny name, but it is a top coat, but it makes your surface waterproof. So if you have a tabletop, or like with the vanity that I did, I know all of those are gonna get exposed to water or cups, then I use the Gator Hide because then I know I'm protected. So, and this patina, it says that it's good, it can be put outside. And you don't have to put a top coat on it at all. The only reason I'm putting a top coat on it is because I'm using it indoors on a table. And so I just don't want any of the residue. So there, I wiped, it's damp, but it's gonna dry and that orange will come back. But isn't that neat? Looks nice and aged. See, the orange is already starting to come back. So you're not gonna hurt the patina by wiping it down, but like I said, I always wipe it down. Sorry, good itch. I always wipe it down with a damp cloth. I usually use a t-shirt with water, and I wipe it down, and look at it, it's already come back to the way it was. And like I said, if you have an area that has too much patina, like maybe, see, I like how this is, you can see some bronze through there. If you wanna see some bronze, then just like I said, take a little bit of sanding paper and sand the blue back, and you're gonna see the bronze. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna put some gilding wax on this, just so you can see some added dimension. So let's go ahead and put some gilding wax on this one. Not on this one, but I'm gonna put it on this one. Okay, so this is the gilding wax. I don't know if you can see it. And it's in the bronze. This is what I used on the vanity when, I had posted pictures on some of my groups and said, it needs something, because I didn't have the gilding wax on it. It needs something. There needs to be a transition color between my patina and my paint. And even though I did some color blending on it, and I'll insert a picture of it, it needed something. Well, look at this. I use this a lot. This is amazing. And this little tin will last a long time. And my favorite way to apply it is I have a little, it's a stencil brush, and it's stiff bristles, but it's flat at the top. I just dab it gently in there, and you can see I barely have any on there. And I'm gonna just gently dust this, and I'm gonna zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm gently dabbing, and I'm hitting all my high points. I'm just going to dust it. Can you see right there? Sorry, I got the copper. I'm gonna put it on all my high points and all the ridges that I might wanna see have stand out. So I'm adding that copper in there. And maybe I want to add copper randomly in some of the plain spots. See a little little thing of copper right there, making it look like copper's kind of bleeding through it. Just kind of put a little vein of copper in there. And then I want this metal down here to kind of look like it's copper coming out from underneath. Isn't that neat? This is no copper, that's copper. So you can see how it kind of gives it more of a metal, like there's copper underneath for some added dimension. See that? I like that little line right there. And I'm gonna go around and I'm gonna hit all my high points, kind of just to add some shimmer and character to it. Kind of like a trophy. I'll show you this part. See this? There's no copper there. Oops. There's no copper along here. That's just regular metal. I'm gonna just brush some of this on there. And it gives it some shine. Really makes a difference right here on this little ledge. Like I said, I'm dusting it on. I'm gonna go right along that ridge. A little goes a long ways. So you can see where I've done it and where I haven't. There. So now that ridge is all kind of highlighted with copper. I'm gonna get these ridges along the bottom while I'm at it. This flakiness is just from sitting on my garbage bag. The paint dried. My candlestick actually dried to the garbage bag. I'll take a little bit of sandpaper to it later. But this, I've got to say, if you're gonna do the blue patina with the copper, you really need to buy the gilding wax, because this gilding wax just matches so well with it. There, see, just adding some shimmer. Hit all these little edges underneath here. No rhyme or reason, because you know patina doesn't happen in a uniform fashion. So I'm just adding, look at that shimmer. You can see along the bottom. That just added so much richness to it, especially right here where I added it in the metal areas. So I just wanted to show you what a difference the gilding wax makes. It really does add a little bit of character to it. Let me show you up here at top. Okay, see how kind of boring that is? I'm going to rub some of the gilding wax along the top. And I know waxing is supposed to be the last thing that you do, but I did to the vanity, since this is just I'm just accenting, I'm not putting wax all over everything. I let mine dry for a good 24 hours, the gilding wax. I let it dry for a good 24 hours, and then I was able to put a top coat over it, and it went on just fine. So I know normally you can't put a top coat on top of wax. Wax is always last, but you're doing so little of this. I mean, look at the difference it made on that top lip, that shine. You can see the little stripes of copper right here and here, and all that copper in there and along the whole bottom. So I just wanted to show you, I mean, what a difference this little copper gilding wax, it's called gilding wax, what a difference it can make, especially when you're using the blue patina and the green. This looks really good with the green. Anytime you're using the copper or the bronze base paint, anytime you're using those two colors, the copper or the bronze, the gilding wax is fabulous. Now, I don't want the shimmer on the rust, because this is supposed to look aged and dingy, and like it's been sitting outside in the weather. And now I brought up I did go down and get my steel wool. I love this stuff. Normally I wear gloves with it, but I came up here and forgot the gloves. And I usually wear a mask. When you're using steel wool, you will get fine bits of metal that that's like a dusting of metal that will come off. So you wanna make sure that you're using a mask and using some gloves. But if you want to kind of smooth out your surface a little bit, this is what I did to my table. Now this, I like the rough look of this, but I'm gonna do this just for you guys. Okay, I take my steel wool, and this is the quadruple 0 grade steel wool. I think they call it 4-aught. I don't know if you can see it. You can see the powder. I've used this a few times, so I just will run this across an area. Sorry, I gotta do this sitting down. A lot of powder is gonna come off, so you should be wearing a mask. But this will kind of smooth out your high points, especially if you're doing this to a tabletop and you're gonna be, you know, having glasses and so, you know, plates and stuff on it. You kind of want a smooth surface, and when you're cleaning it, it's not gonna make it completely smooth, but it does kind of smooth out the high points. You can use sandpaper if you want to, you know, bring it back down to the metal. But for me, I just want to slightly smooth it out because I still want it to look like metal. So I will just rub it with the steel wool. I'm not gonna do it for too long. I don't have a mask on. And then I would take my t-shirt and I would get rid of the dust from that little bit of sanding I did. You don't want to leave that dust underneath there when you seal it. Now the one reason I am sealing it too is these will continue over time to keep oxidizing, or the chemical reaction will continue because air is hitting it. So what I do is I will make sure I top coat it. Then that kind of stops the activation because you're sealing it, air's not getting to it, so it kind of stops the chemical reaction. That's another reason why I want to put a top sealer on it. But so I just took that steel wool to it, gave it a little bit of a shine. So this stuff is so fun. But I mean, the gilding wax, I can show you what it'd look like on here, but you don't really want something shimmery on something that's supposed to look dingy. Now that copper shimmery, so that's looking like aged copper. When I'm talking about that, I'm talking about this. That's aged copper, and you know that copper has a shimmer to it. And it wasn't real copper underneath anyway, but I wanted it to look like it was copper underneath. And let me see what it does. Yeah. The copper is the same color. Let me put it on an area that I don't have. Okay, I'm gonna put it on an area that I don't have any, like right here. I'm gonna put it under this area here and show you just what copper would look like. So if you did happen to have an area where you didn't get your spray on, so there's no chemical reaction, but you don't want the gray, and you don't want to redo the process of putting on a base coat again, letting it dry, that's also what you need to do. So if you have an area that you don't like, you do need to do the base coat, let it dry, do the wet coat, and then do the spray. You have to follow those steps all over again in the area that you want to redo. So, but you can, this bronze matches actually very well. So in the areas that I didn't have any patina, look at it, filled, you can see the shimmer. It filled it in. So it looks like I have the rest. But okay, well my battery started to die because I've been doing projects. I have another project that's gonna be going up where I did some gray, grunge gray wax on a piece. But I wanted to show you this. If you haven't tried the patina, you really need to go to Dixie Belle. I have my affiliate link down below. I'll put a list of all the products that I purchased and the products I used here and what you need from start to finish to be able to do this project. And like I said, my affiliate link will be in the description box below. Go check it out and start patinaing your stuff. You're gonna be addicted. This is so much fun. I'm running around the house trying to figure out what I can patina next. Okay, well this is Amy with AJ's Vintage Designs. Until next time, I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.